was like, shit, if I can make that in one night, I can get an attorney, get my
studios. This week, we are happy to come to you from Podcast Studio Austin. Big shout out to them for having us. Special shout out to Squatch Jim for making this possible. Always supports everything I Am Redemption does, and for that, I am eternally grateful. So, sir, thank you. Now, more importantly, on to the guests of the week. I've been very excited to get y'all in here, and the way I wanted to start off was it sounds like a joke, right? But a priest walks into a strip club. That is the beginning of our story. That is not a joke. That is literally how their story started. There's a couple minor details in there that I'm messing up, so I'm excited to hear. So without further ado, if you two wonderful, amazing human beings would like to introduce yourself and let the world know just a little bit about who you are.
Go ahead, babe. Ladies first.
Well, so far, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you, Shawn, for having us. I'm Neysa Scroggin, and yeah, we're out here in Austin, and again, so happy to be here. So.
Yes, thanks, Shawn, for having us.
Of course.
My name is Chris Scroggin. I am the girl dad. I have 4 girls.
Yep.
We live here in Cedar Park, and super excited to be on today to share our story.
Well, dude, I'm excited. It's an awesome one, and it's an original one too. It's an eye catcher.
Yeah, it is definitely a shocker for a lot of people.
So you and I, we met through mutual friends. You were tapped in with all the amazing women of the Sober Girls group chat.
Yes.
Big shout out to the Sober Girls group chat. And
yes.
So we had the incredible I Am Redemption 100th episode weekend here in Austin, and you came to that, and that's where I met you there.
Yep.
And I got to learn a little bit about. I truly didn't know the whole story, so I'm excited to get into it. But first of all, how'd you get to Austin originally?
How we got to Austin?
This area.
So going back a little bit, so we actually moved to San Antonio first from Denver, Colorado. We can get into that a little bit later, but yeah, so then we kind of slowly moved up because of his work. So we went from San Antonio to Kyle, which I think is interesting because that's where you're located. And then we moved to Austin, and I feel like we just keep going further north. Now we're in Cedar Park. So
and now we might be moving, a little bit further north from there.
Who knows? Yeah.
Whatever. It's God's will, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, once a priest,
Yes.
once an exotic dancer.
Yes.
How the hell did that happen? And how did y'all two ever come together? I mean, I know the story goes a lot deeper. I'm sure it started off with some addiction stuff with you, or
Yeah. So, how I got into the adult industry, I had just left I believe a 6-year, very toxic relationship, very abusive. And because of that, finding my strength to leave, that person we already had 2 kids, 2 girls. And so he used that against me, used the children as a crutch, right? If there's one way to get to a mom or a dad is through their kids and manipulating the situation and manipulating the authorities. So yeah, we were in Nashville at the time, and police recall, all of that. So I met a friend, and we actually ended up moving to Colorado. And so that's where I kind of picked up getting into the adult industry, because papers were served to me while I was in Colorado, and I was like, oh shit, like now we went from here to here, and that mama bear kicked in, right? That will to like, okay, I really got to fight for my kids. And I always kind of toyed with this mentality of being in the adult industry. I had friends who were in it, making really good money. And then even going back further into my childhood, I was exposed to pornography. So it really was very much normalized, if that makes sense. And so at the time, I was in telemarketing, and that wasn't even cutting it. I was like, I'm not going to make, I'm making $200 every 2 weeks. Like, I need a lawyer. I need to, get an attorney, So anyways, long story short, I auditioned, and I'll never forget, it was on a Thursday night. Why I remember that day, I don't know. But I made like $400 or $500 in 30 minutes. I was like, shit, if I can make that in one night, I can get an attorney, get my kids. Hell yeah. Forget the, telemarketing over here, the $200. Now I've got this cash over here, right?
Sign me up,
right? And so, yeah, that's where that started.
Night one, you make the decision. You've never done anything like this before.
No.
What is your nerves like? What is your head like as you go from...
Okay, so yeah, this is where, all the girls knew I was auditioning.
Hold on, at this time, are you in active addiction? Are you getting messed up?
No. Well, Yeah, let's back up a little bit because when I was in Tennessee, I had met a friend, and that's where really the drinking began. It was kind of a journey of drinking, and there were times where it would get really bad, and then, I kind of eased back a little bit. But by the time I got into Denver, I auditioned, and I took a few shots, and Neysa was no longer there. It was Bella. Bella was my stage name.
Okay.
So Bella
So a little liquid courage.
Oh, yeah.
Got you. And then drinking, I'm taking, was your primary objective?
Yes.
Got you. Mm-hmm. And then you're completely other end of the spectrum with you.
And by the way, I'm sorry, this was in Boulder, Colorado, by the way, when I auditioned.
Completely other end of the spectrum. Yeah, so we joke. So like, she'll say stuff like, when she was younger, I was drinking, I was doing this, and doing that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. At the same time, I was studying philosophy and theology.
Praying for you.
Yeah, so we joke because it's like, while she was doing that, while she was drinking and partying and whatnot, I was studying philosophy or theology in Rome, right? And so, it's a totally different thing. I belong to a religious organization within the Catholic Church, right? So there's different missions, different ministries that are, take place in the church. And oftentimes it's a religious order that does that. People may be familiar with like the Franciscans, right? St. Francis worked with the poor. The Jesuits worked in universities. May be familiar with some of them here in the U.S., like Georgetown and D.C. and Catholic University, big time, in D.C. So I was in a religious order. That religious order was started by a priest, a Mexican priest, in 1941. And unfortunately, this guy was bad, like from the very beginning. And it was really a cult that he started, and it was all for he was a pedophile, right? And he had mistresses, he had kids. Just going to go right to it, right? And none of us knew that because he lived a double life. Like literally the guy had one persona that he had for the church and the hierarchy in the church and the Catholic world. And then he had another persona that he did all this other stuff with.
And this is the bishop over you?
Yeah, so this is the founder of a religious order. His name is Maciel, and there is a documentary, a docu-series that HBO Max has put out recently on this guy. If people in your in your audience, people want to learn more about this, it's called the Legionaries of Christ. That was the name of the order. Marcial Maciel is the name of the priest. I'll just skip right to it. So in 2008, by that point, I had already been in this order for 20 years. I entered when I was 18. I was a priest for 8 of those years. And I was, at that moment in time, kind of in charge of a superior, that's what we call it, right? The priest in charge of a community in Dallas, Texas. Okay. And we ran a school there, a pre-K through 12th grade. And then all the adult, formation, ministry and stuff that I've always been in fundraising. That's what the Legionaries saw in me. And so that's kind of the path I was set on. This priest dies in 2008, and the church reopens an investigation that she had closed in the 50s, right? Closed. Unfortunately swept under the carpet, let's put it that way. Church reopens the investigation, finds out that all the allegations from that time period up until 2008 were all real, and that this guy was bad news from the very beginning. It's like waking up, Shawn, and finding out that your spouse is someone totally different than what they have said they were to you, right? Yeah, and so the betrayal and like, how in the world does the church allow that to happen? And I understand now, right, stepping back from it, right? I understand that our Lord is the one who instituted this. I believe I'm still a Catholic. I'm still, practice my faith. It took me some time because I understand that, men are men and they're sinners. Christ founded his church, and it's really his guarantee that this is going to go forward, right? But initially, I was like, fuck this. I'm done, right? I left. I got permission to leave. I had to have, permission from a bishop because I had vows, poverty, chastity, obedience to this religious congregation. And so a bishop helped me to leave. That bishop was the Archbishop of Denver. So I made my way out to Denver, but it was fairly clear right from the start when I went with him that I was going to return to lay life, right? I'd had enough of all of this stuff, and I needed time to kind of like figure all of this out. Yeah. Like, how do you
navigate
allow all of that to happen? And so, yes, I had to go through the paperwork. It's kind of like an annulment, right? So the church understands, and in this particular case was unprecedented in the Catholic Church, right? So the church kind of understood that there was a lot of coercion involved in our process. And so I had to go through the process of being laicized, which means that, a priest, as a Catholic, we believe a priest is always a priest, but his active ministry part can be dissolved, right? And so I didn't practice then after that. And there was a lot of discernment. I know people are probably going to still ask questions about that, right, to you, but there's a lot of discernment that goes into the process, right, of I'm leaving this and I'm returning to lay life. And I needed help, right, for, kind of getting through a betrayal. But why I was at the strip club was
right before we go there, I got to ask, and I know we could do an entire other episode on all this stuff, so I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. But what is it? Do you think about that's whether it was the Catholic religion or why was that such a thing? What had happened for years with all this? Like, why was it such a widespread?
Why was it?
Did the Catholic religion attract so many people that ended up being pedophiles? Like, why did it go into that?
Oh, I see what you mean. I think men are broken no matter what faith they are, whatever denomination they are, right? Men are broken. Men have, sin. I think what happened for the Catholic Church, and it's not much different from Protestant faiths or even non-denominational people who get into pedophilia, right? I think the attention is attracted more because we hold priests and religious people to a higher standard. And it's true. I mean, they should, right? I mean, they are supposed to be living that. But I think there was a time period in the church's history, recent church history, Catholic church history, with Vatican II, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. But there was a time period in the 60s through 70s, 80s where the church became very lax here in the United States on its process of formation for priests. A lot of guys were allowed to become, go into the seminary and become priests that probably should have been discerned out, right? And
originally are those guys that see an opening there where they're like, this is where I'm going to be able to go fulfill this need that I have? Or what do you think it was about these people that have this problem of molesting children going to that?
Yeah. Oh, well, they would definitely have access like this priest did, right? He definitely had access to young people. He had the trust of people because he was a priest. He was impersonating, because I'm just going to be flat out. Yeah, he was a priest, but he was impersonating a priest.
Right.
He wasn't really living like one.
Right.
But because you're taking advantage of people who are very religious, Mexicans are very religious people, right? They're very Catholic and they're very trusting,
Mexico.
right? Yeah, he was from Mexico. They're very trusting of the priest. They're going to, hey, whatever Father says, and this is the 40s, right? This is not our time, right? Where people are very trusting of, the religious order, or, the authority of the priest. So someone evil like this, and I say evil because the church in her condemnation of Father Maciel stated it that way, right? It's some of the strongest language the church has used in condemnation, right, of someone and his actions. That he was very evil, and his intent from the very start was to do this. Religious congregations are these families within the church, like St. Francis, that people are more familiar with, right? I mean, it was the Holy Spirit who inspired him to do something for the church in that time period. We're talking the 12th century, right, where there was a lot of opulence. Again, the church was, wealthy, and St. Francis was there to kind of reform that aspect of getting it back to gospel poverty, right? This priest at this time was, looking to spread, spread the gospel truth amongst leaders. That's kind of how he put it. So it gave him access to people who had wealth, but it wasn't to do the gospel.
Yeah.
It was to do something bad with it,
Gotcha.
right? And, after all of this time, the time I had, experienced this as a young person, right? There were times even in my formation where I told my superiors too, it's like, I just don't think this is for me. I love my Catholic faith, but I want to be a dad and I want to have kids, right? There wasn't proper discernment because once they got you in, like a cult, right? Once they got you in, they kind of found out what you were good at doing. If you were a recruiter, you were good at recruiting other guys, then you would go down that track. If you were good at fundraising, then you'd go down that track and you'd raise funds for the congregation.
Gotcha.
But that's not how discernment's supposed to be.
Right.
You're supposed to help someone find out, like, what is God calling you to do? What's the purpose in your life? Is it to be a priest, or is it to be a good father, right, and a good husband? And that didn't exist. And that was one of the reasons why the church was so understanding of those of us who had been through this. Like, okay, these people didn't have proper discernment. They weren't given the discernment that they were needed in order to, follow God's path.
Right. I got you.
So, that being said, so here I am after this. It's like, I don't know what to do with myself at that point. Like for instance, all the money I raised, did it really go to the congregation, or did it go to this guy to do the evil that he was doing? And I felt terrible about that. And the bishop was like, look, you in good conscience were fundraising for the congregation, for your brothers, right? So you have to let that go and leave that in God's hands. Right? There's no way that you can, beat yourself up over something you had no control, or you didn't know what was going on or how it was being used. The other thing too is like, how do you allow, how did the church allow this to happen? Like in the 50s when they had the guy and they had these allegations, it could have been stopped right then and there, right? And it wasn't, for whatever reason, right? And so, there is aspects of this where you see the brokenness of men. Mm-hmm. You see, unfortunately, that, yes, Jesus Christ is God and he's holy. We are not, right? And while there are really holy priests, and I don't want to take that away from priests who are doing incredible things, right? Because it's not fair to them. But there have been a lot of, unfortunately, bad priests too. Yeah. Now, I wasn't physically abused, thank God, right? But I was abused emotionally and spiritually by people who had manipulation, right, as their key instrument of using, over those of us. I was 18. Like, I don't know anything about religious life. I'm trusting that this priest is knowing what he's, doing and guiding me.
Right.
So going back to so when I left, I was like, screw this. I don't want to practice anything right now. Don't talk to me about, my faith. I am going to go numb myself this way.
How old are you at this time?
So I'm like 36.
Okay.
37. 37. Right. And I'm just going to go do whatever I feel like doing. I've never been to a strip club. So I'm just going to go to a strip club and I'm going to drink and I'll do what I want. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that was right or I'm justifying it in any way, but that's the truth of the matter. I went into this club. It was late. There was nobody there.
It was a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I remember,
because I don't know what night to go that's going to be better, right? I have no clue, right? I'm just being stupid. And, order a drink and, Neysa had performed. Beautiful, lady who's, dark, her black hair, her, that kind of Eastern European, look that she had. And I'm just like, hey, hope she walks over and talks to me. So I'll let you take it from that.
Do you have any questions? You want me to kind of
I'm in, go.
Okay, so elaborating on that, I remember it was yesterday. I'm on
just
stage.
A normal Tuesday.
Yeah, because honestly, he was the only guy there. Tuesday nights were, let's be honest, they're boring in most strip clubs. And so I'm finishing my set and I get off stage and I'm going to the left where the DJ booth is, but when I tell you, I felt a physical pull to my right. I literally felt like someone was like, no, let's go this way. And so that's where I met Chris and sat on his lap and do what strippers do.
Right.
Right? Hey, how's your night going? Right? And just kind of introduce. Well, the crazy thing, too, is so I was actually also baptized Catholic, but I wasn't brought up in the faith like Chris was. It was just really more of you get baptized, whatever. Yeah. And maybe go to church Easter or Christmas or something like that. But crazy thing is, he wears this every day. And he has worn this that night that I met him in 2011. Knowing nothing about Catholicism, I'm sitting on his lap. We're having a drink. And I looked him dead in the eye and I was like, are you Catholic?
I'm like, what in the
he's
world?
and you got, and he's thinking,
I don't get away from that.
Right,
and
exactly.
And
I never asked, and I don't know where that came from. Yeah. Obviously, the Holy Spirit, but he's, and I remember the low two. You're like,
you gotta be serious.
That's the last thing I want to hear, but I didn't know that at the time.
Right. She didn't know anything.
But
about
how fresh are you off of leaving?
So that was in 2011.
2000. Yeah.
So a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. A couple
So
of
this
years.
is just one wild Tuesday night. You're
Yeah.
fucking, I'm going to the strip club.
Fuck all of that. I'm done with that stuff.
And, yeah.
You know, just not. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know really why I decided to do that.
So
as particular, as opposed to just like going to a bar and drinking. Right. It's just
So I do want to add, like, by the time I met him, I had already gotten custody of my kids. By the way, I know that's a big part of the story. Like, you know, I was working. I ended up going back and forth to Tennessee. I got a lawyer, and I did end up getting my girls back. So that was really cool. And then, like, 2 months after getting them in 2011, that's when I had met you.
Right.
So.
And now, when you guys meet, where's your alcoholism? You still,
Yeah,
you still
so
full board, just getting going, or you out of
it's
it?
still going,
No,
yeah.
it's going.
Because I don't know how it is I know here in Austin, and then also in Denver, like, dancers can have drinks if a customer asks. We could drink, and so I was taking advantage of that, like, big time. I mean, even you bought me drinks. He actually became my regular, honestly. Which
is curious
saying that
too,
now,
because
just like
I know. Well, and then like for me, the strip club thing wasn't like I just started to
and I was getting
fall in love with
shit-faced.
her,
I
right?
was
So I
getting
wasn't really
wasted.
the strip club thing. It's not like I went there and wanted to go do that all the time. It just for whatever the pull was, it brought me there that night, and that's how we met. And then it was like, and I'm gonna be real with this, like I had a nightmare as we're like starting to get closer one night and I don't remember dreams. I don't look at
he never
dreams like in
remembers
any kind of
dreams.
like biblical way or whatever. I had a really serious nightmare. And in that nightmare, I felt like Satan telling me, you are not going to help this person. You are not going to save her. You're not getting her out of my grasp. And I was like,
what the heck?
Right?
Yeah.
And I didn't really, understand that until we started to, as I tried to court her and like help her understand that, like, don't you see that they're just like you're a piece of meat? Like they're just using you to make money.
Yeah, but I want to add too, because
Sure.
by the time I met him, I not only was I really struggling with the alcohol, but I was now addicted to the strip club, gaining that power, that control, and then especially coming from like we grew up in poverty, food stamps, all of that. So when I saw the money coming in, I'm like, hell yeah, like $500 a night, $1,000, like whatever, like that. Now I have my kids. You would think I would have quit, but I didn't. Like it worsened. I was so hooked on that industry. Just my worth, my value was just my identity. All of that was just solely focused on that, because I also was like, well, I got these kids now and I have a townhome, and while in the midst of all of that, I've got him over here like trying to get me to quit. And I'm also like, no, because I just fought my ass off to get my kids. I'm not going to let some other guy tell me what to do. Right.
Right.
So it was a battle. Like, I've got my kids over here, and, I'm sure people are, why didn't you just quit and get another job? I'm like, well, I'm making a lot of money. I don't, and I'm so used to doing this by now. Like, that's all I knew. Right. So yeah, it was hard.
Well, I can say as a bouncer in a strip club, I've never made more money in my life than when I was a bouncer
There
in a
you
strip
go.
club. And I wasn't even taking clothes off. So
Yeah.
And then to now coming from a bouncer's perspective, if I would have ever seen you coming in and starting to court her, I'm like, oh, here we go. Guys like that are a dime a dozen. And they think they're gonna walk in there and get their wife or whatever like that, and they come out and they get a number and they're all excited. So you as a dancer, at what point do you start seeing him as being different? Because at first he's just money coming
he's
to the
just some guy. I mean, you became my regular, and people I don't know if it took just a few times, and people, they already knew, like, oh, there's Bella's, customer coming in.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a good question. So
Yeah, because I don't.
when we started we started dating a few months after we met. So May of 2011, August is when. Okay, so this is funny. He actually.
But as a dancer, you got to have guys coming at you all the time and trying to get your number, to try to take you out.
Oh yeah.
At what point does he break that threshold where you're like, all right, he can get the number, he can get a date?
Yeah, so that took a few months. He was like, he just wanted coffee. And
move.
finally, I
dude.
gave in. I was like, fuck it, fine. I'll go have coffee with you. And I just really started to fall in love with his personality. I have never said that about a guy before. I always went with looks and, sex and all that stuff. So yeah, it didn't take long.
Did you get all dressed up for the coffee meeting? Like, were you dressed up or were you dressed down?
Dressed down,
You were
maybe.
dressed down. We
Yeah,
didn't even
dressed
go
down.
to the actual coffee shop.
So one thing about
got the
strippers,
coffees.
dancers, however you want to word it, we don't typically dress the way we do in the clubs. We are very much sweatshirt, like you.
Yeah.
This is why
But I can spot them.
This is why I'm asking, because
Right,
if you showed up dressed down with a baggy hoodie on and some slides or whatever, I'm like, all right, it's real now. You're no longer
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not just money.
Yeah.
We had a spot that overlooked the Flatirons.
In
It was
Boulder,
right off
Boulder, Colorado.
off the highway, and it was a rock basically. So we called it the Rock. That's where we would meet. And so, I picked up the coffees. It's not like we met at the coffee shop either. Like I picked up the coffees and brought us coffee, and it was interesting because I obviously I wouldn't have thought that I'd ever date or marry a stripper, right? It's just I didn't see her as that,
Yeah.
And as she started to share her own story with me. And I met the girls, right, which is another interesting part of it, right? And because she thought that was going to be a icebreaker like that. I mean, a game changer.
I was very
right?
guarded.
Like this
I
guy's
was
not going to
so
give up
guarded
on me
at
if he
that
knows I
time.
have kids, right? He's not going to want, So she was super guarded and
Very
Me, on
protective.
the contrary, it was like she didn't realize that I had gone for a long time wanting to have a family, not necessarily wanting to go down the path of the priesthood, but that was what ended up happening. And so I was like, oh, dude, you have kids. That's awesome. Right.
And I'm going to say this. I was your first girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought?
Yes. All of that. Right. And I would have, like I said, would have never thought it would have been a stripper. So I didn't see her as that. And I started to really fall in love with her. Right. Not Bella, the character she was on stage. Right. But she didn't get that. Like, because she had not ever had a man do that.
No.
Right.
Where I wanted to court
was
someone,
different. It
right?
was
Like to
foreign
really
to me.
like, my father's, I shared with you before, my dad is a combat veteran from Korea. He's passed away. But like, I grew up seeing how he treated my mother, how he treated women, right? With huge respect and taught that to my brother and I. We'd have to stand for my mom when she came into the room. I couldn't sit until she sat down. That's just how my dad was. He's old school, right? And so I never had the opportunity of doing that for a woman until I met Neysa. And so then it was like, okay, well, now's my opportunity to really like be chivalrous. We don't have that in our society anymore, right? Unfortunately. Right?
There was a time where I bought myself flowers and you're like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, what?
No one's bought you flowers? I'm like, no. So then he shows up with roses and that became like a weekly thing. He even brought some in the club.
At the club?
At the club.
Yes.
Damn,
Yes.
you're making a scene.
Dude,
I
he
made
was
a
bringing
scene.
pizza. Like everybody, the bouncers knew you, the DJ. Like, yeah.
Even the bouncer guy knew me.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Being working in the clubs for years and stuff like that, obviously now being the sober man that I am, I look at it a little bit differently though.
Right.
But for a woman, like you've been around it more than I have, but I think a lot of girls go into it for different reasons and they handle it different ways.
Yeah.
And I saw very powerful women dance that were, number one, very, very good at what they did, very good at dancing. Like they took it serious. And I watched girls put themselves through college and do that stuff and really only go in there to do that, get that money and go out. And then I saw other women that would leave and immediately have to hand their money over to the dude that was picking them up. Fucking abusive pimps coming up in there, pulling them out of there. Girls smoking crack in the bathroom, like you name it. Like we saw the spectrum, and I worked at a very nice strip club in Charlotte where I got to wear a tux to work and everything like that. But we still saw all that. So I think like, it's like anything else. Are you going to let it chew you up and spit you out? But I think it can be for a certain kind of woman an empowering thing when you understand that you in that scenario you hold the power. You know what I mean? Like you hold the power in the scenario, which isn't necessarily like that out in the world all the time.
Yeah.
Or you come in there and you're completely submissive all and everybody runs right over you and stuff like that. So like, what was your experience dancing like that? Did it break you eventually? Were you able to keep your head about it?
No. I always say this. I don't know if you've ever watched a movie called The Players Club.
Of course.
It's literally about a woman going through college and she becomes a stripper and eventually her cousin does too. And I'll never forget. And I watched this movie even before I became a dancer, and her cousin gets really deep into it, right? And I remember the scene where she tells her cousin, "You make the money, don't let the money make you."
There you go.
And that stuck with me. And I still allowed the money to make me.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know in Boulder, that's where I started to dabble with cocaine. Again, getting it for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And drink after drink after drink. I mean, it was getting ridiculous. It was getting bad. And
there was a time where I picked her up and I was bringing her home because she called me. She called me like, I need help. And so because I wasn't planning on going to the strip club, right? But I go there, I get her. I am driving her home, and literally she's trying to get out of my car
I'm
as
trying to
I'm
commit
driving.
suicide.
Yeah, she started trying to end it right there.
Yeah.
I'm reaching around her to grab the door to keep it shut. I'm like, what the hell? What are you doing?
I was like, fuck this, I want to end it. And I'm like, I mean, we're going like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, I had to slow it down, bring her over. I'm like, whoa, we got to like.
He's probably thinking, what the hell did I just get myself into? Because this is still early on not long after you met me. So,
Yeah, there's most dudes would have been like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that says a lot about you to stick around and work through it. And for
yeah,
a lot of
and I
people
think about that too.
sitting here strong today.
Yeah. No, got a hold of me, and
It's
then,
never a dull moment when I was hanging out with strippers.
yeah, I've got other stories, but yeah, there's never a dull moment. But then I eventually stopped because I get pregnant in 2013.
Right.
And then if you want to talk about that, like the job and
So I didn't really have any kind of network in Denver.
Your parents still living?
No, my parents have passed.
Gone.
one,
In fact,
your mom, when we are going into
no,
Texas.
Yeah. Well, yes. At the time when we met, my father was still alive.
Yeah.
If that's what you're talking about. Yeah. My father was still alive. My parents have passed now. They're both dead now. My mom actually was my first funeral as a priest. She passed away in 2006. She had terminal cancer, so she knew she was dying, and so she said, "Well, why am I going to have somebody else do my funeral if you're a priest?"
I didn't get a
And I
chance
have
to meet her.
crazy stories like that as a priest, as you can imagine. But no, my parents have passed, and
But your dad was still alive.
my
at this
dad
time?
was still alive.
Was this? Well, I'm just curious. Was this
Yeah,
like a hard conversation where it's like, Dad, I met this girl, and
It was, but like my father, God bless him, man. He was. I wish I had more time with him. I really do, because the order I was in was so strict about because it was such a cultish thing. I didn't have time with my parents, so I missed out a lot on time with my dad from 18 to 37, and so and that's hard, right? I mean, but at the same time, I let him know that I was doing this, and and I had met someone and I'm in love with this person, right? And it was awesome because my dad embraced Neysa and the girls like they were his own, they were his grandchildren, right? From me, as opposed to this other gentleman. And because I think my dad all along didn't necessarily want me to go that route, and it happened. And so now that he had me out of that situation, he was happy to see me happy that I was, finally getting to be a husband and a father. And yeah, he started sharing things with Neysa from his Korean experience that he never shared with my brother and I or my sister.
He
right?
had a Marilyn Monroe photo. It's still in the family. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I mean, I'm
a shot
sure
of Marilyn Monroe getting off a Jeep. Because she was coming to do a
live
USO.
photo that he took.
A live photo.
It's right. You could see all the military.
you could see all the guys,
military
right?
men
My
are
sister
just.
has
I was
it.
like,
Really?
is this what
Can
I
you send
think
me a
it
picture
is?
of it?
Yeah.
I'd love to see
Oh
it.
my gosh, we'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
But if I could back up a little bit, because
Yeah,
in
please.
2013 we get pregnant, and
Right. Juliana.
with Juliana, she's 12 now. And this is around the time where we moved to Texas. And this is important because this is where, not long after I go back into the industry because we are falling on hard times. This is when we lived in Kyle.
Okay.
Our landlord was a police officer. He was a
sergeant in the
sergeant.
police in
He
Kyle.
still
He
is
in the
Kyle
police. He is
PD.
awesome.
Super awesome.
He and his wife helped us out
Kyle
tremendously.
PD shout out to them for helping us. I still get teary-eyed because they helped us through Christmas and Thanksgiving. I mean, they literally showed up at our door with turkeys. And anyways,
So Kyle
so
PD.
I know Kyle PD.
They're awesome. They really were.
They're really awesome.
They helped us in a
And-
huge time.
Oh
I
man,
need to patrol my neighborhood a little bit harder.
yeah. Is that Plum Creek?
No, not Plum Creek.
Okay. So yeah, we got
Trying to
our
give out-
car.
Stop trying to give out my address.
I'm sorry.
Kidding.
Our car got re-put like literally on our daughter's birthday. We had to put on this front like everything's good, knowing that our car just got and
Well, as
so,
you can imagine.
So the
you're
one
like,
thing that I knew
yeah.
was the club, and so I actually ended up working here in Austin. And let me tell you, there's a whole different. The guys are way friendlier, if you know what I mean. And I was warned about that. And this is where,
Touchy, you're saying?
yeah, this is where cocaine got really out of hand. This is where the alcohol got really out of hand. It just got really bad.
So you were with her for years of alcoholism.
Yeah. I mean, there were nights where I'd come home and I'm like, I want to end this. And then it got to a point where I was putting that lifestyle over
Our marriage, over the girls.
our girls. And he filed for divorce.
I finally got to a point where it's like, dude, I don't know what else to do to grab her attention enough to get her to understand this is serious shit. Like,
yeah.
and so I served her
Because
papers.
now I'm dabbling with
It's
cocaine
like, dude,
and
like,
it's,
you gotta make a
it's
decision.
making me crazy. It's making me crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
because
she'd
I'm
come-
dabbling with that, but I'm also dabbling with alcohol and the two. I mean, I'm just going crazy.
Or she wouldn't show up. I'd
Oh,
stay up
no.
all night. Like, where are you? Not
Wouldn't come home till
responding.
6 in the morning.
I
I'm
didn't
at
know where
hotels
she
having
was.
parties. Like,
She's at some party, like doing cocaine, right?
and
I'm like,
ecstasy. Like, just
hell?
being stupid. No, and
and
I.
finally, come back the next morning. I've got the girls. I'm trying to get them to school. I'm trying to do this, that, and the other thing. And she's totally like wasted. And
And people would think, well, dang, you worked so hard to get your kids. Why are you doing this shit? Like, why are you going? You're even worse now. I'm like, dude, the enemy's got a death grip on me.
Yeah.
And that was where the change happened, where I saw my family falling apart. And I was like, fuck, I got to change. I need to
that was the
change.
big-
And so that's basically when I quit the club, not the alcohol yet. So
Yeah, not the alcohol yet.
And that was
but
in
we were getting there.
2015.
But at least she quit the club part and she quit
So-
the drugs part.
2016.
So is it like one last conversation? You asking like, I need you to get out of this club, or you came home and you were just like, that's it, I'm done there.
Well, I served her the papers, so
Yeah,
if you
no, I
wanna
received
share
an
him
email.
that- yeah,
I
if you wanna
received an
share
email.
him
I was
that
like,
part,
oh,
right?
crap.
And I guess that was kind of my last ditch effort to grab her attention, right?
Yeah,
It's
we were in
obviously going to
Austin
grab
at
your
this
attention,
point.
right? Like, I mean, you got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to continue down this self-destructive path. I'm going to take the girls and I got to get them away from that. I mean, it can't, like, you got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that? Or are you going to stay with us and be who you're supposed to be, right? I mean, like,
Yeah,
who
and then
God
in my
wants you to
mind,
be,
I'm like,
not
well,
just-
damn, I fought once. Like, I don't want to have to go through this again and have to fight for my kids again. Like, I got them already. Like, why am I allowing this to happen and possibly lose you guys? So that was, for me at that point, that was the wake-up call to get out of the club. And that was the start. And then
Yeah.
some healing took place, therapy took place for some of the shit that I'd done in the past. And
Well, it was great because then we did have like you were saying, like we did have a sit down conversation. Is like, after that happened, I served the papers, right? Which I wasn't wanting to divorce her, but I needed something to get something grave enough, right, to grab her
'cause I'm
attention to say,
yeah.
because it's hard, right, to get her attention, right?
Yeah,
to
stubborn.
like we'd have war, right, if we were going to argue about things, and it's like that wasn't getting us anywhere. And it was just hurting us both and the kids, right? So it's like, all right, this. And then we sat down. It's like, look, I don't want to do this, but like, we've got to make changes, both of us, right? Because at that point too, then I started dabbling with pornography.
Yep.
And like, when your spouse is not there and, it's like, I'm not saying that that's justified either, but like you get into that realm of
Yeah.
trash, right? And so I'm like, look, we got to change. We have to make a change. We've got to do something to like course correct and get ourselves out of the situation.
Yeah.
And really like, so we were married civilly, right? And so we're like, why don't we, so by this point,
Got married in Kyle, by the way, at the court.
Yeah, the courthouse.
Yeah.
And by this point, I had finally gotten a good job with a great pro-life nonprofit here that we have a lot of respect for, that does a lot of incredible work across the country. And so finally had a good job, right? So she didn't have the excuse of, I need to go work at no, you don't need to do that anymore, right? And some of my colleagues were Catholic, and they introduced us to the parish that is our parish now, that we've been a part of.
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis off of Burnett. That's
Road.
What we've been parishioners there for
10 years.
10 years, right? And so and we sat down in this conversation, we're like, we got to make some changes. We need to talk with our parish priest and just flat out tell him the whole freaking story, right? Everything that we've been sharing with you, we shared with our pastor, who, by the way, was just named a bishop by Pope Leo, and he's going to be the bishop of Tucson, right? Arizona. And Father was amazing.
Yep.
He's like, all right, let's do this. Let's create a plan.
And so we planned our wedding.
Healing for herself, convalidation of our marriage, or marriage within the Catholic Church.
Which was just a fancier term for getting our marriage blessed in the church.
Correct.
And the church recognizes that.
Right. And
versus
getting the
courthouse.
2 older girls baptized because they weren't baptized. Neysa had her confirmation. So a lot of incredible things happened then after that. She still was drinking, right? But I'll let her go there. But at least I got her out of that situation of the strip club.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to say myself, because it was really God who helped us through that.
I like how he, thinking him back, like how he orchestrated all of that.
Yeah,
you were in your dark place, and then I was literally, right?
God.
And just the way he brought us together. But yeah, so what year are we at now?
2017.
So 2017. Oh yeah, we got our marriage
convalidation?
blessed, and then if we can kind of fast forward to 2019, right? That's kind of where. So between 2017 and 2019,
you're drinking. Are we talking every day? Most days?
It got to a point where he was like, "Where's the alcohol going?" Like, I mean, obviously you knew where it was going, and then then I started hiding my drinking, my taking shots, and then one day he looked at the shot glass and there was lipstick on it, and he was like, "Huh,
got her,
got her."
Like that's I mean, I think
I didn't
down
want. I deep down I knew, but I needed something, and that.
But like at that point, I was like, okay, if I'm hiding it, there's
up.
a problem.
Yeah,
there's a freaking problem. If I need it all the time to wind down, that's why I don't believe in the mommy wine culture. And I know people out there are probably gonna have an issue with that, but I'm against it because I fell into that But
you were step up from wine. You were going.
Oh no, I was not a wine drinker. I was hard
whiskey,
liquor.
right?
Martinis
I had
were my
bourbon.
thing. There's a place we were just talking about this the other day about what was that place called? It's in the Domain, and I actually walked up to 2 guys your size.
Yeah, your
Dallas
size.
Cowboy fans, and
I'm my size.
And
I thought
the last thing I remember is going to the pool
get into
table.
a fight with these 2 guys because
And I don't remember anything. It was getting to a point where I was blacking out off these martinis because martinis were my thing. Extra dirty martinis. We were going out all the time. And so anyways.
They were Dallas Cowboy fans. She's a Packer fan.
Yes. Sorry,
she was
guys.
talking
Talk
shit.
that shit. Let's go.
Big time shit.
Oh, man.
And
I was always popping. I'm
going to get
originally
killed
from
here.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Like, we pop off a lot. Like, that's, it's still like that. No, just kidding.
Quick funny side story. My wife told me at one point, she said that one of her I don't know if it's fantasy or whatever, but she wanted nothing more than to see me impose my will on another dude. And she's like, I just wish some guy would like come up one time and just like try to buy me a drink just so I could watch you like shut him down or anything like that. And I'm like, maybe, like we'll see if it ever happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually. We go to see the UFC comes to Austin. We go into the VIP. I'm sitting there talking to these UFC fighters and stuff like that, it's like right before I'm starting the podcast, so I'm pitching them to come on, and I look over, and there's a whole team of fucking MMA fighters, and there's one big black dude sitting there talking to my tiny little wife, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Of all places for this to fucking happen, this is what's going to happen? And so then I walked
Not tonight.
I walked over, and then she came walking over and like that, and she was looking, and I was like, well, that wasn't the time. If there was a time where I was going to do it, it's not going to be that one because I'm not going to get served up
Right.
by a whole team of people.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
But anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, gosh. Sorry. I just got into that. Where were we at on that last?
No, so
Sorry, I
I mean,
lost my
like
train of
you
thought
still have
there.
the alcohol. We're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
sorry.
that,
So December of 2018, I'm just like, damn, like I'm having to basically. I really wasn't a day drinker. It was really towards the evening, but nonetheless, I don't want to water down any of that because I was struggling with it. And so I was on YouTube, and just a little backstory. I love health and fitness. Like that was my jam even before all this. And my dad also, who's a big time athlete. So growing up watching him. And so anyways, I'm on YouTube and I just come across this health and fitness person. Her name's Christine Hronick. And yes, I have permission to say her name. She's now my friend, but she has her own business. She's a chemical scientist, engineer, right? And she went to one of the top-notch schools in Philly, and she loves helping people. So she ended up, having her own business. It's called Gauge Girl Training. And so she had an upcoming challenge in January of 2019.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, maybe this is my sign to quit. And so in one of those challenges was a shred challenge, and you can pick like vegan, paleo, whatever. So I chose paleo. And why? Because in paleo, it's no alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love a good challenge. So I was like, challenge accepted. 30 days, what the hell? Why not? Why not 30 days? And man, all the temptations were there. We had a friend who celebrated a huge birthday. We went to this bar, like, 2 weeks into the
it.
paleo, and
then
I'm
I
like, shit,
was
I'm
doing the
looking at the
paleo
bar
thing with
like
her just
this,
to, like,
and he's
accompany
like,
her
are you
with-
okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I'm really not. Like, at this point, I'm like, I'll drink anything. I'm not a beer drinker. I wasn't. And at that time, I was like, damn, that beer looks good,
Yeah.
So her program is what got you your
Yeah.
your
That was
So
the
her
start of it.
program was the starting point of my recovery. And here we are. Tomorrow will be 7 years,
years.
of
Let's
sobriety. Let's
Oh,
go.
big
Yeah, it was
man.
awesome.
Yes, 7 years. So
And it
super
was all
excited.
because of that challenge.
So I really, at the end of the day, it was my choice to stop, but they were the ones to give me that extra push. And they have a Facebook group called Gauge Girl Training, and that community just kicks ass. Like and your community also,
Oh,
which
you don't
is
gotta- you don't
freaking
gotta
awesome.
say
Now
that.
you
You don't gotta
guys,
say that.
he's been pushing me to run. So yeah,
That's what we do around
Us
here.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do.
Yes,
We're
yeah.
gonna get the whole family out there.
yeah,
I mean, we live in a really cool time to where, years ago that wasn't a thing where you could just look online and find somebody that's going to inspire you like that. And
Yeah.
cause. I'm sure this woman knows the type of change you've had in your life since.
yeah. She's the one so she had another challenge this last spring called the 42 Hard Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner was she was going to fly someone out to Philly and do a whole photo shoot, makeup, hair, all that good stuff. And I ended up being the winner of that. So that was
proud of her.
so
Like,
cool.
She, like,
It was for
worked
marketing
really
purposes,
hard,
right?
yeah.
For her supplements and all that. She's got like protein shakes and all that good stuff. So so I got to be a part of that, and that was really cool. And by the way, Philly is freaking awesome. Like I loved that city. Absolutely love it. And that's where I also did the Rocky Run, my first run there. So
Crushing it.
yeah,
Good shit.
freaking awesome.
it
I'm
was
gonna try to
awesome.
get my family out there this year for the Rocky
Yeah,
Run.
we all want to do the Rocky Run.
Yeah,
Good deal.
heck yeah.
What so for you with the issues you were having, was it easy once you got her back? It was just kind of easy to put that down, pornography and all that.
No, it was something I struggled with then for a while. And it wasn't until when she got pregnant with Genevieve, our youngest, right? Is when I really was like, okay, dude, I have got to like get a handle on that.
I didn't know he was struggling with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew
and I
like
had to,
something was wrong.
and I had to have her like support. You got to help me with this.
because I struggled with it too.
Because I
at
knew
some
that she
point.
had struggled with it, and I knew, obviously her background in the stripping, industry and all that stuff. It's like, you're my spouse. I need your support. I need your you got to help me through that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We use Covenant Eyes. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a software.
Okay.
It's started by some Christian guys, I think.
It's a great
remember.
app.
Yeah, so it's
To
an
hold
app.
each other accountable.
It's not the only thing, but it definitely will helps because it's your accountability buddy, right? So she's my accountability buddy, and it's an app that you download on your phone, your computer, your whatnot. But then it's more than just the app, right? So it is faith-based, and it helps you, get to understand what pornography does to your brain, how it, you need to rewire your brain, and you can be free of this. God wants you to be free of this, right? but it's awesome having, you know, because Neysa's been such a support with that as well, right? Because it wasn't easy to. It's an addiction too.
Yeah.
It's an addiction to just like anything else, right? Drugs, alcohol, whatnot, right? And it's so degrading to the people who are performing it and to the people who are
it also
consuming
feels sex
right?
trafficking too, which
Right.
we can get into that if you like.
Yeah. So I have been clean of that since that time. So what? That's 2 years?
Yeah, I was pregnant, so that was like 2.5 years.
So I guess that's my sobriety.
Yeah,
right?
that's really the one thing he really struggled with.
That's really the one thing I don't, you know, the alcohol wasn't an issue for me or growing up in my family. It wasn't.
Yeah, this guy can have a bourbon and he's fine. And I'm like, damn, I can. We want to go to Italy. And people are like, well, you're going to have that wine in Italy. And I'll be honest with you. Like, I went back and forth with it. And I'm like, no. Because I know where that's going to lead. Like, my brain, like, I can't. Like, when I look at people and they're like, oh, I'm just going to have one drink. I'm like, how?
Yep.
How do you have one drink? I don't know what that's like. I know my brain. I know my body. I'm going to want more and more and more. And I've heard of people doing this where they've been sober for so long and then they have that drink and boom, they're in the hospital or they just, you know what I mean? Like
drinking.
You can't drink the way you did when you quit.
Right.
You got to like work your way up, I guess. But you know, when you start taking shots or whatever after quitting for so long, your body's like, what the hell? What are you doing to me? You know?
Drinking was my gateway. Like I was never an alcoholic in the sense I needed it when I woke up or anything. Right. But I know I could have 2 beers today, it'd be perfectly fine. I'd be good to go. I could stop, no problem. But eventually 2 beers is cool, I'll have 3. And then eventually 3 beers is cool, I'll have 4. Probably around 4, that's when I'm going to end up doing lines off the back of the toilet.
Yep.
And then before the end of the night, I'm going to end up with a needle in my arm slumped over in some parking lot, for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So like alcohol is my gateway. Everyone always said weed was the gateway.
Yeah.
Weed never made me want to do anything except eat food, listen to music, and watch movies. But
same.
Alcohol, then we're getting the party started.
Actually, my first, it wasn't even weed for me. It was ecstasy. That was my very first drug. Yeah. Then it was weed, and then
every time I did ecstasy, I'm like, why don't I do this more?
Yeah,
like I was like, why do
now
I do
you
other
can't even
drugs?
do that. I mean, I'm not saying to go do this, but like drugs. With fentanyl and all that out, no, no, thank you.
One of the biggest, most impactful things that happened to me in my recovery. I was sober. I had probably over a year, maybe even more up under my belt. And I was entering into like my first kind of serious relationship. And I was having issues. I was having performance issues, like all this stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why am I having these issues? Like, this girl's beautiful. Like, I'm in love. Like, why am I having any problems? And I ended up going to a mentor of mine who's a very big believer in God, very proud man. And he was actually the director of the treatment center that I went to. We became friends and I would go do work there afterwards. And so we were walking around one day and I was telling him, he was a mentor of mine, so I'm sharing him what's going on. And he goes, well, let me ask you a couple questions. And he's like, what's your Instagram look like? And at the time, do you know what suicide girls are? So suicide girls are like, I think they're called like alt models, but they're like blue and pink hair, tatted up.
Okay.
Models like that.
Sure.
Not your traditional Victoria's Secret tats and all that. So, I mean, it was all that. And he was like, okay. And he goes, do you watch porn? And I'm like, I mean, like normal, nothing crazy. Like, I don't think it's an issue or anything like that.
Right.
And he started explaining to me and he started diving a little deep. And he's like, Shawn, like every time you go into this scenario, you've already been there 1,000 times and hit this button and hit this button and hit this button. Yeah. And then when you go for the real thing, like that button's been hit so many times, like you're not registering anymore and it's not exciting anymore.
Right.
And I was skeptical, and he's like, I'm just going to ask you. He goes, go ahead and clean that stuff up. Get rid of that stuff off your Instagram. Give it a little bit of time off that, see what happens. I did. Never happened again. Yeah. Was probably the most clarity I got mentally in recovery or in addiction or any of that stuff was probably doing that. Cleaning that out of my life, and it still holds true to today. Yeah. It was one of the biggest, most beneficial things, and I never realized. Then you start diving deep. I never did any research, but then you dive a little deep and you see what a brain looks like when it's watching pornography and when it's not.
Totally.
And stuff like that. And you're like, holy shit.
And
like,
this Covenant Eyes victory, that's what it's called, right, goes into that, right? And it really help you dive deep. And there is a community online that you can be a part of as well, besides your accountability person. And they get into the science behind, like, what is this doing to you as a person? It's
There's also chats within the app where you can get online and talk with other people, and and 30 days.
It's really helpful to understand what this is doing to you, not just spiritually, but what it's doing to you physically and mentally. Yeah, right. It's affecting your whole person, right? And you're becoming a slave to something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where you truly need to be redeemed. Right?
Yeah.
I am redemption, right? It's so important to understand that our story is about the redemption. God goes into the dark places we end up getting into, right? Because he loves us, right?
Yeah.
And he comes into those dark places because of his love for us, and he's not afraid of that, and it doesn't turn him off, right? Because I say that because not just because I was a priest, right? But it's like we listen to the lie of the enemy that tells us that we are nothing, right? And that you're useless, and that you'll never be. You'll
Your
never
worth
be
is
good.
only in the strip club,
Your worth
right?
is this. Your worth is stripping or whatever
Or
it
with
might
the
be.
bottle.
And the whole time, God is not giving up on us, and he's coming into that dark place and saying, no, you're worth it because you're mine. I know you. I made you. I created you. And I love you totally,
Right.
without any kind of, strings attached or whatnot. And it's so important to understand redemption as God paid a price for you, right? The price was all of his blood on that cross that day, right? And that's how much you are worth to him. Even if it was just you that he had to save, he would have done it, right?
Right.
And that brings such if I'm worth that much, then I need to fight better than what I'm fighting right now, right? And not allow ourselves to be enslaved to whatever it is that enslaves us, right? Because there's tons of things can enslave us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually, if you don't mind talking about what I do now, so it's like a full circle moment. So
We're getting there. I'm gonna bring you there.
Oh, okay.
I know where we're going. I know where we're
I'll get
going.
excited.
No,
It's good stuff.
I'm gonna lead you right into that. The one thing I want to say, I struggled for years with the God.
Sure.
I always believed in God, just didn't know what to believe. And we've talked about this before, but I've said this before on the show, but I want to say it again. I was driving down the road and I had a very profound thought one day. At least it was profound to me. And you'll hear sayings, God provides. God's always going to provide for you and stuff. And I take a look at how lonely and I had in addiction. I had a bunch of material things because I'd run around and spend my money on dumb shit. But I never felt more empty in my heart, mind, soul, all those things. And then I get set on this path that I'm on now. And my goal is just to help people every day. That's what I want to do, is just help people, because ever since I had started doing that, God has provided for me, abundantly. And to me, that is I don't want to say the reincarnation, but the incarnation, is that a word? The incarnation of God on earth, to me, is helping people. Because that's what he did. He went and helped the less fortunate. He went and helped the people in the brothels and the this and the that and did all these things. And so I look at it and I'm like, man, I've never felt closer to God, because I know for once in my life I'm doing exactly what God wants me to do. And that's to help people, whether it's through the podcast, through speaking, through just talking with somebody one-on-one. That is what he wants me to do. He's given me, I used to look at this whole past that I went through as this bad stuff, but he's given me this experience to go be able to use it and help other people. And I think I get signs from God all the time. Somebody might think I'm crazy, but I'll be listening to a song and I'll clearly hear God wanted me to hear that. That was I was thinking about something and he wanted me to hear that. Or a conversation or something comes up and it's I think God has been trying to tell me these things all my life. But because I didn't have faith, or because I was too busy questioning things, I was so closed off to ever see all these signs that he's giving me every single day. And my life is not easy, but days are easy because I'm living within my purpose and doing God's will. And as long as I keep helping people, all these opportunities continue to present themselves every day. And so
Amen.
I take a look at a lot of people that are on similar trajectories or doing things, and they keep hitting these roadblocks. And every time I see them hitting roadblocks, I see them trying to serve themselves and never trying to serve and help other people. And that's why, me getting into the podcast, the social media, and getting around people that have followings and stuff like that. I see people with these big followings. If you're not using that to help other people, then what is it for? Why are you doing it?
Yeah, why are you doing
It's
it?
all self-serving.
Yep.
Right.
And if that's you, cool. If that's your, as a businessman or somebody in business, I don't fault you for it if that's what you do. It's just not what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just feel very blessed that we live in this world and have this age, or that y'all have had the experiences that you do to now go out and do the things that, see, I told you I was coming back around to it. But to be able to go out and use all this
Let's go.
experience that you have to be able to actually go out, the most selfish thing you could have ever done to me would have been just go on and got a regular 9 to 5 and just been doing your job and never used any of that experience. What was it all for?
Right.
When we use it to help other people, it redefines it for you, for my family. Now my parents can look at me as this heroin addict that was kicked out of the military and be proud as hell because they see what I do with it today.
Right.
Correct.
So, which brings me to, what do you do today?
Yeah, full circle moment. So I now help the very women who are in the, you know, whether they're in the industry, the sex work industry, or, you know, they've been out for years and they're just seeking, you know, mentorship or guidance or whatever. So I work for an organization based out of LA. It's called treasures.la. And I've been with them for a year now this January. I got a lot of anniversaries this month.
I mean, that absolutely sounds like a strip club though, right?
Treasures.
Treasures?
It does.
Okay. Did they do that on purpose?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And the
Respectfully.
woman who founded it, her name's Harmony Dust. She's amazing. She has a book out, and so I found out about them through my therapist.
Okay.
And my therapist recommended this organization for support, you know. And so I went with them and, you know, looked them up, all that good stuff. And I attended a few of their meetings. So they have support groups weekly. They have Bible study, empowerment group, and support group. And after a certain amount of your attendance, you get certified. And one of the co-hosts for empowerment group was looking for someone. And little did I know, like, they all got together and they were like, Neysa, like, she's her, right? So I felt very honored, very blessed to even be thought of. And so right off the bat, I was like, heck yeah. So I now help women who are, whether they're, you know, working on the streets or in the clubs or call girls, whatever, you know, sex work they're in, or so just
They've even
meeting
been
them where they're
exploited, right? Or human trafficking? Or
Yeah,
sex
so
trafficking?
exploitation, all of it.
It's like all of that.
Yeah.
So do they hit you up and they're like, hey, we need you to go to this location, this location, this location, or how does it work? And then what does it look like when you go? What do you do?
So within Treasures, they also have like little mini organizations, like little mini ministries. And one of them is where women will actually physically go out to strip clubs and just meet them where they're at. They don't force women to leave. They just give them like a goodie bag and, hey, we want to walk with you and, you know, all that good stuff. So
Do you all have to pay to get into the club? Do they let you guys in there?
I don't know because I've not personally done it yet, but I will say this. Our priest has mentioned that when I told him what I do, he was like, because, you know, we have Yellow Rose here and it's a big, it's within our diocese.
Yeah, and Father's trying to figure out ways to how do we
help men?
How do we minister to these folks who need help?
Right.
But like,
right.
And I really feel like that's the way we should be doing it, right?
Right.
I mean, our Lord didn't stop, kind of like what we were talking about just a few minutes ago, right? He wasn't afraid to go into the brothel. I mean, like he wasn't afraid to call Matthew. Matthew was a tax collector. Mm-hmm. Matthew wasn't going to be in the synagogue going to church, right? Mary Magdalene, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really resonate with Mary Magdalene. If you ever watched The Chosen, I think that's the first episode, right? Where he meets her in the bar. And yeah, like that was me, 100%.
So, for me on the outside of it, like looking at the story, right? And just seeing, you know, from that moment of meeting her in the club, that nightmare that I had, and where God has got us both, but Neysa, you know, especially, it's just seeing God's the grace,
I love what
right?
I do.
And the strength that God has. Like, doesn't matter what we've done in our past, or it doesn't matter the darkness we found ourselves in. That doesn't define us,
Right.
right? And God is all powerful and can get us out of that situation if we allow Him to. So, like, it's so cool seeing Neysa now working with the same people because she's had, just like you said, she's had that experience. You can talk to someone about this because I've been there. I'm not making this up or like whatever.
It's like people who are in the military,
and,
right? Like you like to give that example a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like
no one knows unless they've been.
I don't know what you went through in the military. I don't know what my father went through in the military. I have no idea what it's like to get shot
there's
at.
There's like that connection. Like, and a lot of those women are also addicts.
Right.
So I get to, bond with them in that way too. Like, hey, I've been there. I've been in your shoes. Right. So just meeting them where they're at.
You don't do 12 steps, huh?
I don't. I actually get asked that a lot. How did you quit? You do this? I'm like, no, I went to therapy.
Yeah, I'm not looking down on you at all for
no,
that.
no, not at all. I know a lot of people who are in AA and they do all that, and that is fantastic. My dad actually went to AA when I was 9 years old. I remember being in the intervention, and yeah, like it's for some people and it's not for others. And I don't look down on anybody who does that. But for me personally, just having a good support system and therapy really helped because it really got to the root cause as to why I was resorting to the bottle. Why was I doing this? And of course, all this stuff from childhood came up, right? And then even teenage years and early adulthood. So really just finding the culprit as to why I was numbing, right? So
The only reason I asked you about 12 steps, and it has nothing to do with 12 steps, but would be cool if maybe somebody started much like I started the Monday Night Men's Group, that's every Monday night at 6 p.m. If they had a service, women's service industry type meeting like that for women to go to, because then you get them to come to you, and then that's where you can get them plugged into your thing.
That's good. Yeah, and I actually had
because I can't imagine a strip club is just going to open their doors and be like, come
Yeah,
on
yeah,
in,
yeah.
take my girls.
Yeah, no,
Right,
we
right,
don't, and they don't do that. In fact, a lot of the like the managers will like, yeah, come on in, Now we haven't done that in Austin yet. I know there's one in Houston. I think they have one in Houston where they have a group of women who go into the clubs and
Right.
just like, hey, here's a goodie bag, and you'd be surprised what those little goodie bags can do. Like they even sent one to me whenever I got in, touch with Treasures. So like a welcome care package.
So now that you're coming up on 7 years sober,
7 years,
right?
yes, tomorrow.
Getting involved in running.
Yeah,
Healthy, help you
I got to
sober.
get there. Hey, I pushed myself
You
Saturday.
absolutely
I did.
did. So what
That
is
was
it?
my daughter, actually, my 12-year-old daughter. Kudos to her.
She's awesome.
She's
Yeah,
awesome.
she was like, yeah. She's
She
like, "Come on,
actually,
Mom,
I
you
She
gave
didn't
her.
back down. She was up there running with me. She didn't care.
Yeah, she actually, quick story. She didn't want to go. She's like, I'm too tired. And I'm like, okay, fine. 10 minutes before leaving, she gets up. She's like, I'm doing this. I'm like, that's my girl. Like, yes. And then not only did she do that, but then she pushed me, her mom, like, come on, Mom, repeating the words that you were saying last week to me. I was like, damn, dude.
It was awesome. Yeah.
You guys
She's awesome.
Y'all are the exact reason like why I started the run group, because the first time I ever showed up to a run group in Austin, guys had their shirts off, everybody's all chiseled up, they look like they've been running their entire lives. I was so scared. Stepping out into that world, and so I know what it's like just being a regular person to step into that world, but then be newly sober and you don't have the security blanket of drugs and alcohol to then get vulnerable and step out into something that's hard. It's going to suck. You've never done it since you've been a kid or whatever like that. And so I always wanted to be that bridge. And so I tell people all the time, like, I don't care. You can push your kid in a stroller, you can bring your dog, whatever you want to do, just come out. And then you guys literally show up, whole family in the van. You got your both daughters with you. You got the stroller ready to go, and you didn't blink. You got out there. What was your experience coming for the first time?
Oh, I love it. And it's after that I was hooked. So we got back in the car and we're driving home, and she's like, well, what did you think? I'm like, we're doing this every Saturday.
Yeah,
like,
we made it a commitment. We're coming,
like,
unless we get
this.
sick or something something crazy happens.
Or something happens, but
and then the view. I mean, come on, the view
fantastic.
of Austin, Texas. Like we'd been in here. We moved 2017. We've never been on the boardwalk. We've never seen downtown from that perspective.
That perspective.
Like I'm sure there's so much more out there that we have to explore for sure.
Yeah, and I was like, man, it felt good to run, even though because when I was just met her and we were dating, I was running every day.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I wasn't the
5
guy
miles.
running with my shirt off, but I was definitely running, 4.5 to 5 miles, a day, and it was awesome. And then you have kids and whatnot, and
life happens.
Yeah,
right?
life happens. But this was great. Like, she's like, what do you think about doing this? And I'm like, let's go. Let's try it out. Well, I mean,
that was one of the coolest things. Is, where I come from, Youngstown, Ohio, it's all shitty streets and run down, beat up houses. And there's no running culture.
Right. Yeah, Milwaukee.
And exactly. And then I show up here to Austin and I discovered Town Lake. I never saw anything like it. There's people running day or night, men and women pushing strollers, running with dogs.
Old people.
Nobody, old, young, big, little.
It's awesome.
And there's literally, I used to run there every single day, and there's never been a time. I ran that 10-mile loop I can't even count how many times. There's never been a time that I don't come out on that boardwalk and I catch a view of the skyline, and I'm just like, damn, thankful. So thankful that I live here. Like, I feel lucky every time.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what we said too. Like, it's given us a new perspective on Austin.
Yeah.
Especially if you go down. I need to get you guys down there early in the morning before the sun comes up, and you run out, and it's just all the lights and all that stuff.
Oh,
You're
man.
just like,
Cool.
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
It feeds the soul.
Yeah.
And we need to get you guys signed up for a race. Who knows where we could take this?
I know. February, we have the Austin Marathon, right?
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
in?
Well, I know you need volunteers, so we'll.
If you're listening at home and
sign
you'd
up
like
for
to
that.
volunteer for the I Am Redemption nonprofit, give us a shout.
Yeah.
I got to start getting good about. I don't ever talk a lot. I talk about everything on social media. I don't ever talk about it on the podcast. I'm like, I need to start talking about this stuff on the podcast more. But I'm always just in with conversations and people's stories.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do it.
Yeah, but you should. It gives you a good opportunity. And
Yeah.
see, that's my background is nonprofit
Yeah.
fundraising. so-
Fundraising.
and that's, I've stuck to
Funny
that.
how we got connected.
Hey,
Yeah.
like I told you the other day, it's providential. This is not a coincidence. I was telling Chris when I met you, like you actually came up to me. I didn't know anybody when we did the meetup here at Squatch, and I remember it was this big guy coming up to me. Hi, I'm Shawn. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And
Well, first she texted me like, I don't see anybody. I don't know if these people are
yeah,
going
that
to be
is
here or
huge.
not.
I almost didn't meet
Should
you
I
guys.
just, because like the sobriety group that she was
they were
coming
running
to see,
late, and
right?
I
They
was,
were running
I was in
late.
the
She
group like,
didn't
where are
know.
y'all at? Where are y'all at? And nobody was responding. And I'm like,
she'd never been down here before, and
Yeah.
she's like,
and
I
it
don't
looked
know, should I
shady.
stay?
I'm like, what the hell is this place? Like my oldest daughter's with me, and I'm like, what is this? I shit you not. Like I'm leaving. That's when I see the girls from the group.
Yeah, the sobriety group.
Had I left earlier or a little bit, yeah, isn't that
So it
crazy?
really is a God thing, right?
It really
we
is.
joke about it
And
sometimes.
then we had
or
story
laugh,
time
but
around
it's
the
like,
bonfire,
it's
and
like-
I was just
it's hugely
amazed.
important.
And then you came up to me at the very end there, and I was like, wow, that was freaking awesome.
Well, that's
It's good stuff.
that's how I know God's working in
Yeah.
my life, because all I do is I'm very open with my stuff, and I just talk about it.
Yeah.
And whenever God gives me the opportunity, like I've never one time turned down a speaking event. It could be for one person. I don't care. If you ask me to come speak, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And so anytime I've ever done that, but all I know is I always lead with that. And it's not like I just open every conversation like, hey, I was a heroin addict. But
Right.
wherever it makes sense, it does. And I can't, there's countless people do I end up having these conversations or making these connections with the random person that works at the diner, the random person in the sauna or whatever. And it just shows you like how far reaching all this goes. Like at the end of the day, we're all recovering from something, but
So true.
that's how I know God's got me aligned, because all I do is continue to do that and try to help other people, and He provides, and I get connected with amazing people, and it just continues to happen. So it's like you just want to shake people and be like, hey, wake up.
We were just talking about this and just kind of elaborating or piggybacking off of that. Like if God's going to open those doors, go through them, man. Go through those doors. Otherwise, you may miss out on something big, something great, right? Like, and taking
guess
those risks.
The
and
unknown is scary, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a little scary.
But you got to trust Him.
Heck, I was nervous coming here.
I think it's always an adventure.
Yeah.
It
right?
is.
Like
It
you were
really
saying that
is.
earlier. It's
Yeah.
always an adventure to follow God. Like it's not boring. If it is, something's wrong. Like you're not on the right path.
Right.
Dude, because if you really let God use you, and like you said, be an instrument, and you're going out and helping people and just sharing your story, the story that He's brought you through, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be adventure to it. There's going to be like, I don't know what He's going to have me do, but that's fine. I'm going to let
But
Him.
I'm going to say yes anyway.
I got it. Yeah. I'm going to go through that door, because you never know who you're going to help or plant a seed in that changes their life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the incredible thing about it.
Yep.
I'm curious what you think with this, and I feel like maybe there's ego involved, and I'll just speak for men, but I notice a lot of men later in life will then come to God. It takes later in life, it seems like.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's as we get older, our ego, we get chipped away at that ego, or finally we hit an age where we put the ego down and understand whether or not we're not the center of the universe. There is something bigger out there, that's greater than us. But I see older people. Once you get in your 40s, that's when people really start. And I feel like that's, that now is when my relationship's been the strongest with God. And my relationship doesn't look like I think it would either. It definitely doesn't look like I was told it would when I was in Catholic school growing up for those couple years. It doesn't look like that, but I feel closer than ever before. Talk to God every day, open conversations. My God's cool. I can swear to Him.
Let's
all
go.
good.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think also our ego gets chipped away by life experiences. And then as we get older, so I'm 52, right? I think you do hit a point where it's like, this is going to end. I'm going to die, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of legacy am I leaving behind? Like, what have I done with myself?
Yep.
Right? I'm going to stand before, whether you believe in God or not, like, you are going to die. Our mortality is there. It's like, we can't escape it. We see it all around us, right? And so it's like, dude, like, what does God have me here to do? And am I going to follow through on that? That's the thing that's going to give me most joy, like you're talking about, and purpose for myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Making $1 gazillion and having a bunch of stuff is okay, but it doesn't fill. There's a spot in us that we can't fill with all of those things. We just can't. Whether it's drugs or pornography or all the things we've talked about so far in this conversation, we cannot fill that thing. Only God can.
What are they saying? Trying to fill a God-sized hole with
all this other crap that doesn't fit right into that hole, right? And we just aren't going to be able to. And I think when men hit a certain age, you're like, crap, what have I done with myself so far, right? And even as a fundraiser, working with donors tends to be the older, not necessarily, because there are younger donors that are incredibly generous, but it tends to be older people, right, who look back and say, crap, yeah, sure, I've made a ton of money, but what was I supposed to do with it, right? And they come across an organization that that I've worked for, whatever, that they find affinity with. Maybe they've had an experience of addiction themselves that they've tried to overcome, right? Or maybe they, were, in the sex industry or whatnot, and they, got out of that and then became, wealthy or whatnot. And it's them connecting that and realizing God's blessed me with this, but he needs me to do something with it.
Right.
So that it can have more impact, right? And it just makes you feel more joy at the end of the day, right?
For sure.
I can't take that stuff with me. Like, there's no U-Haul behind a hearse, right? Like,
Question for you.
Yeah.
A young woman out there listening to this episode, she's still trapped in that lifestyle. What's your advice for her?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Well, first of all, I know deep down we don't want to do this. I mean, deep down, none of us want to do that. And so I would say, listen to that voice. Listen to that voice. Reach out to community. I mean, community was big for me. I really thrive in the community. And hey, reach out to treasures, They are really good meeting you where you're at and listening to you and not judging, not shaming, which I really love about that too. So.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, fun question for y'all. Hypothetically speaking, you know what I'm about to ask?
No.
No?
Well, I can imagine.
Hypothetically speaking, I ask it every episode. Y'all two are walking out for the UFC championships of the world tonight separately. What is your walkout song?
Ooh.
That one walkout song that gets you going.
Rocky.
Ready to go. The Rocky
The
theme?
Rocky song, yes.
Rocky theme? Or Eye of the Tiger?
Yeah, is that what it is? Eye of the Tiger, yeah.
That's Rocky 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
That
you're
would be
going
mine.
with
What about
Rocky?
yours?
Mine? Gosh, man.
Didn't think you were going to go. Didn't think you went fight with it. What's your jam song?
My jam
Like
song.
what's your walking into the gym? I'm ready to wreck shop.
That's not. Eye of the Tiger is not your jam song. I know your jam songs.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, I would, yeah.
You played some of them tonight before we got here.
Yeah, but that's like dancey, trancey music.
all right.
Okay, so I used to rave, and I'm still, I still listen to it every now and then, but, yeah.
Share one of those.
I can't name them off the top of my head.
So some EDM type stuff?
Sure, yeah.
Gotcha.
Might be Van Halen. So like Panama.
Ooh, yeah.
Which one?
Panama.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm an old classic rock type guy. Boston. Anything by Boston.
What about you?
More than a feeling.
What about you?
Mine changes.
Oh, it does it? Yeah, mine will probably change.
Yeah, hers will.
It'll change.
Mine changes for the day.
I'm so predictable.
For the day.
Like she'll oh, yeah.
I think right now Nas just came out with a new album. I think he's got a song on there called New York State of Mind too. It's like a sequel to one of his classics, so probably go with that
Nice.
today.
Okay.
Switches day to day though, it just depends on the vibe.
Nice.
Cool. Cool.
And then I was gonna ask one more thing, I think. But we're getting close to the time for the meeting, so I'm also having that on the mind. But number one, I can't thank y'all both enough for coming on this it's funny how God works, because Neysa and I had originally scheduled to try to do an episode, and then there were some
Hiccups.
schedule changes and everything like that. And then I had no idea about anything about you. And then she started telling me, I'm like, oh my God. I was like, that's the episode. Yeah, can we get you all both? So this was incredible.
Yeah.
Number one, I couldn't be happier that I got connected with you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you guys for being a
Likewise.
part of everything.
been
You guys
great.
are very valued. Thank you. Two, thank you for showing up today and being willing to put your guys' story out there. Like I already know it's gonna hit some people and help some people. So I look forward to that. So thank you. But
Awesome.
everybody got to hear a little bit about you. And so the way we like to wrap up the show, if you take a look each into your cameras, and we'll let him go. Ladies first. We'll let ladies go first. We'll put the pressure on you.
All right,
You
let's
take
do
a
it.
look in the camera and throw out a couple I am statements to let the people know who you truly are.
All right, I am fearless.